It's like trying to be the one to bit arachnids. You can't rip the slash up on Jason from the lake to rapids. All this pain I can't mask it. Be the next step to the plate. Wreck your place, get blown with that shit. Propane, I feel flame. Local drip spitting from the OK. Hot baby, witness
Hugh. That's how I pronounce your name, right?
Yes.
Heck yeah. What do you do?
I do stand-up comedy.
Why is that?
Well, I got started about 6 years ago. I started at the Looney Bin. I had met someone locally, this girl named Jamie, whose sister happened to be Sheila Nafee, who was probably like, you could say the ambassador of the comedy scene at the time, because she was on every show that the scene had. She was on the Comedy Parlor shows, the Looney Bin shows. She was on Gerald Harris shows, Billy Bazaar shows. She was on everything. And then so my friend Jamie wanted to get started in comedy like her sister, and I didn't even know they had comedy in Tulsa. So she invited me to go out to the Looney Bin with her to see her sister perform. And it was a comedy contest that night. And I had never been to the Looney Bin before. I don't even think I'd heard of it. And there's a guy that ran a comedy class in Tulsa named Roy Johnson, who is a comic for decades. He's a really great dude, amazing comic. And he ran this comedy class there, and he came up to Jamie and I in the lobby, and he was like, "Hey Jamie, when are you going to sign up for my comedy class, like your sister?" And she was like, "Oh, I got this thing going on, blah, blah, blah. I can't do it right now." And he was like, "All right." And he walked away kind of disappointed. And I was like, "Jamie, like, I thought you wanted to do this, blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Evan, I got to tell you something. I'm actually kind of scared of doing it. I don't think I'm ever going to actually do it." And I was like, "Well, what if I did it with you?" And she was like, "You do that?" And I was like, "Sure." And I didn't even really like think about what I was getting myself into by saying that. And then so the class was like a month away from that point, so I didn't really have many friends at the time. So I would just kind of tell my family, I think one or two other people, I was like, "Hey, I might, sign up for this comedy class that's coming up." And people were like, "Yes, you need to do this. That would be great for you." And so just kind of talking to Jamie, I'd randomly text her sometimes I'd be like, "That comedy class is coming up. We're going to be in that, right?" And she'd be like, "Oh yeah, LOL." And then, the day came, I showed up to the class and she did. There was like 7 or 8 other people in there. The class was held at the Looney Bin, right? And Roy Johnson was talking to the class, and he was like, "Hey, everyone needs to pay attention to me and listen up, because at the end of this, we do a graduation class at the club, and it usually sells out, so you're going to want to pay attention so your set goes well." And I didn't even know that I was going to have to perform. Like, it hadn't really fully occurred to me that it would be at the club. I mean, it sounds really obvious now, but I literally looked around for the exit, and then I looked over at Jamie, and I was like, in my head, I was like, I wonder if she would hate me if I just bailed on this thing, And I was like, man, I can't fucking do that. I got to go through with this thing. But the way the class was the people that signed up for it literally showed up with notebooks full of jokes, and some of them had already done comedy before and even taken the class before and were just taking it again. So the way it would work is Roy would get on stage and he'd be like, "All right, Scotty, come up here and let's see what you got." And Scotty would go up on the stage and be walking around telling actual jokes that he had, and people in the class would be laughing. And then he'd be like, "All right, Evan." And I would go up, I showed up with nothing. I was by far the worst person in this class. I did not want to be there. And then a weird thing happened to me in real life so the class is 9 weeks or something, or 10 weeks. You go every Saturday for a couple hours, take turns going up on stage, work through what you got, come back next week and have your shit worked on. I just didn't want to be there. And so I would usually make excuses for why I hadn't worked on my stuff. I would say that I'd been busy at work or whatever. And he gave me a pass for several weeks where he'd be because he'd end up working with some of the others a lot more, and a lot of the time would go by. And then so he'd be like, "All right, Evan, we'll miss you this week, but next week you really got to do this." And so I was just and I would go up on stage with my phone, because he kind of let you do that when you're new. So I'd be reading monotone notes on my phone. I didn't get one fucking laugh in this class. And then I was in Oklahoma City going to try to see his band play, and I was trying to drive across the train tracks, but I was only watching the car in front of me, and my car got hit by a train. And I ended up getting 2 black eyes from it. I had a concussion.
That's all?
Yeah.
You got hit by a train, that's all that happened. You lucky.
I survived somehow, but I had to show up to the comedy class that weekend, And I showed up with my sunglasses. When I took them off, I had the black eyes, and they were like, "What happened to you, dude? Like, you got in a fight?" And I was like, "No, I got hit by a train." And they were like, "This is going to be the perfect joke for your set. Like, we're going to do this train joke." And I was like, "No." I was like so embarrassed. I didn't want to do this big train joke. But I ended up like, the class kind of helps you work out your stuff. They're like, "Why don't you try saying this?" It's kind of it's like being in a class for anything. You know, everybody's kind of helping each other. Mm-hmm. And then so my first set was actually kind of co-written in some way with the class. But where was I going with that? So I'm hit by the train. So anyway, I'm the worst one in the class, right, by far. I'm not getting any laughs. We're like a week to the show. And like, I think at that point, Roy, the instructor, was like, "Dude, I gotta fucking do something about this guy." So he got up on stage with me when I was up there, and he ripped my phone out of my hands. I mean, I'm still with my phone on stage with me like 9 weeks into this class, which nobody else is at that bad of a level. And he's literally like, "Tell the fucking joke, man." He's like, "You've been bullshitting week after week. You've been doing this." He's like, "We're all fucking tired of it." Like, he went into me. I mean, it was legit embarrassing. And the other comics in the class at that point had kind of become my friends. Just because, you know, you talk before the class starts, you talk in the parking lot afterwards. And I remember looking out to the comics in the Looney Bin audience, like who's going to stick up for me, you know? And like, everyone just kind of gave me a stare like, "No, he's right, dude. Like, come on, you've been bullshitting." And at that point, I was just like, pissed with like, I'm not sleeping because my body fucking hurts. I was hit by a fucking train. Everything in my life is literally a train wreck. And then so I actually just started telling the jokes with like a little bit of fire just because I was pissed off. I just didn't have my phone, and that was the first time though that I ever got any laughs in the class.
Wow.
And it was kind of like a little light bulb went off, and I was like, "Oh, this is what it is." And he jumped off the stage, and he took his phone out and started taking pictures of me. And after I did the first bit, I was like, "All right, am I good?" And he was like, "No, man, keep going." So I just kept doing it, and then I just kind of like boomed the mic got off stage, and Sheila, the girl's sister that was the girl I signed up with, the one that was the comic, was in there. Mm-hmm. And she came up to me and she was like, "Damn, dude, I didn't know you could be that funny." She was like, "That was actually good." And I was like, "All right, I'll wrap this up. We can go to the next question." But basically, there's the graduation shows in like a week. The guy that had become my closest friend in the class, named Frank Elkins, he was just the coolest one to me. Like, he took me out to dinner. He like really had an interest in kind of helping me along, and he'd done the class before. The way they structured the show was they wanted to have someone that had done comedy before go up, and then someone that was brand new that had never done it, and then like vet, the newbie, you know, whatever. And then he went up, and he was just like nervous. You know, we've joked about this with him before, like we're all still friends. But he like forgot his set like in the middle of it. Like, imagine like going blank. He did not know where his next joke was. He was just like, he stood on stage in silence for like a minute and a half. And this was like a sold out comedy club of people just like looking around like, and I was standing like if it was baseball, you know, in baseball when someone's up to bat and they've got someone that's up next. Mm-hmm. Like, I was up next, like side stage, like closest to him, standing up against the wall. And people were kind of freaking out. Like, the other comics were like, "Oh shit, what's going on with him, dude? Does anyone know his joke?" Like, yell out his joke. Yeah. And like, Roy came up to me and got in my face, like the instructor, and he's like, "I'm not gonna lie." He's like, "I have more doubts about you than any of them, but he's like, I fucking saw you last week." He's like, "I know you're gonna be able to bring that." He's like, "You fucking got this. You're gonna be a rock star up there." And he's like, he slapped me a couple times. He's like, "Go get him." And I went up there, and I think it was just a combination of like watching the set right before me, and I was just like, I remember thinking, I was like, no matter what, I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm like, I'm not gonna be silent, like whatever happens. Yeah. And then when I got up there, I had this like script of like, when you're a brand new comic, all you want to do is remember every word that you write down. Like, you don't even think about like the energy of the room or the vibe. Like, all you are is like, I wrote down, "So I am blah blah blah." You know, it's a fucking script to you when you start it. And then once you've done it enough times, you realize like there's no fucking script, and they don't know what you're supposed to say, and you know, you can say anything. But I actually went off script after like the first line, and it really surprised me, and it got a laugh, and I was like, "Woo!" And it just kind of calmed me down, and I ended up having a better set than I should have had. Yeah. And that was kind of my like launching point into stand-up.
That was your like intro. Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm sorry that was like such a long.
Oh no, that's great. That's great. I really cool. Love that story. You're very amazing at telling stories. Like, that's very compelling. It's very inspiring as well. I love that. That's awesome. So like, I'm gonna let's run through a lot of these. All right, we're gonna speed.
I will.
Hey, but I love that story. That shit was awesome. Okay, so where are you from?
Tulsa.
You from Tulsa? Do you like Tulsa?
I love Tulsa.
You love Tulsa.
I absolutely love Tulsa.
What is the best venue in Tulsa, generally? What's your favorite venue?
Oh my god, I have a thing about the Vanguard because when you walk in and like you smell that fog juice, you're just like, I'm in the Vanguard. I love that smell.
With that. That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So like, who is your biggest inspiration in comedy?
I really didn't have one. Like, I prefer black comedians, so I kind of grew up watching like Def Comedy Jam and like Bernie Mac, Kings of Comedy, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. Like,
Dave Chappelle's
all
the shit.
Patrice O'Neal. So like that's what I prefer, which is like,
You know what? I think I know the answer for you, and I feel like you're too humble to say it. I feel like you are your own biggest inspiration for that. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I mean, I just literally like the way I talk, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would try to actually be funny, but it's just like this is how I talk, so that's the way I talk on stage.
Heck yeah. So do you have any other creative interests that you would like to pursue?
No, I mean, I have a lot of things that I want to do with my life, but not necessarily creative. Some of my goals are just kind of meeting as many people as possible and introducing people to each other and making people smile.
Definitely.
Just taking time out of the day.
So another thing, word around town has it that you be rapping a little bit. No.
You know, I will. You know,
Okay,
if you want me to try it out.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, but do you see your comedy as like an art form?
I do see it as an art form.
Okay, cool. So like, I'm curious. So this is a really deep one, and let's try to keep this one like segmented into a short response. But what is your philosophy on life? And that's a deep ass question.
Oh man, I think people are the most important thing in life. Like if you just imagine the world without the people in it, I think it would be a lot where like I can't even imagine being here without people. So I'm all about people. Like whether I'm, at Quick Trip, just getting a candy bar, I'm gonna stop and be like, hey, how's your day? How's your shift been? Like, are you cool? Like I don't like life to be just like transactions.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. And see, that is perfect for the follow-up question. All right. How do you know so many damn people in Tulsa?
because that goes in with my philosophy. And I think what I did was an easy way to meet people too. Like there's no easier way to meet people than to put yourself out there as like a performer, because I've had so many people that, I've done, 600 whatever comedy sets in Tulsa probably.
Wow.
And people will come up to you and just be like, hey, I like your jokes. It's like an easy way to like, to meet someone.
Break the ice.
How are you? Without me doing performances, if I was just like standing around, it'd be a lot harder to meet people. But it's just a way you put yourself out, and you put yourself out there to be commented on and to be talked to.
So I feel like you love bringing joy to other people is what you like to do.
Oh yeah, if I can.
That's highly respectable. because you do. If you pay attention to how everybody feels about you in the town, everybody fucking loves you. I've not met one person I've never heard a single bad thing about you. I'm sure there is, but it's like, I feel like if there is any bad thing, everybody, I've never heard a single thing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost non-existent. I really like that. So what is your connection with the hip hop culture locally?
I think it's just because I'm such a big fan of it. I'm honestly a bigger music fan than I am a comedy fan.
Really?
And I've been listening to hip hop since like Public Enemy. So
wow.
I was listening to all the down south stuff, like all the Swisha House and Dirty South Riders and Boss Hog Outlaws and Lil Flip and I like all the West Coast, Mac Mull, Mac Dre, Andre Nicotina, Too Short, San Quinn. I love East Coast. I love Black Moon and Nas and Jay-Z. Big L, yeah. Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, yeah. Cameron, Rakim, yeah. All that stuff. Outkast, like everybody.
So, relating to one of the dopest artists in the town, what is your connection with Alan Doyle?
Alan Doyle, I think so. Alan used to or still lives with Hector at Mohawk Hector, right? So I went to high school with Hector. So I think Hector was my way to meet Alan personally because they're in the Outsiders together. Yeah. So Hector and I go back to Memorial High School.
Wow.
And Hector's, the Outsiders through and through. So that's pretty much my connection to Alan and him asking me to be in that music video.
That's really dope. Okay, cool. So what's your favorite rapper, just like all like globally? What is your favorite rapper or artist?
I mean, I love like Tones Beach. I love you. I love Gengar. I love The Neighbors. I love Steph Simon, St. Dominic. Like literally, there's just so many. Like
okay,
first verse, you know.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Burns.
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody.
Okay,
else.
so you just love the scene. You love the scene, and it ain't even like I asked globally.
Ayola, yeah.
You asked globally, but that says a lot because those people are going to be globally. Like they're gonna be global soon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna kind of pivot away from the music, and I'm gonna ask something that's like really like way different. All right. Do you believe in the artificial superintelligence takeover of the world?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I believe that shit too. I just wanted to ask. You know, do you believe like who's behind it? Do you think it's like? I mean, I don't want to like I don't want to.
Probably Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Oh.
Or Elon
I
Musk.
thought you were gonna say like Alex Jones or something.
Or Morgan Freeman.
So do you have any political beliefs or anything?
No, I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm like a leftist basically. I was for Bernie Sanders, and I'm a communist, socialist person.
Oh,
So I'm one of them.
Communism.
Yeah. Well, I'm just not into capitalism.
What got you into communism?
Just like reading stuff, like reading and people. A combination of the two.
Very interesting. So do you believe that there is aliens or anything like that?
Probably.
Would you believe what if I said that aliens were made on Earth? Would you believe that?
Oh, yeah.
Like chimeras, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like isn't that technically alien or
Like the restaurant?
No, not the restaurant.
Oh.
But like it's when you splice the genes of two species together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've had people tell me that they think I'm an alien.
really? I mean, I feel like we're all kind of aliens in some way. Do you believe interdimensional aliens, like maybe like demons or angels or anything like that? Do you believe in like interdimensional?
Yeah, I think we should go to that place in New Mexico and check it out.
Oh.
At some point.
Oh, that one place?
Yeah.
Should we not say what place that is?
I can't talk about it.
Oh shit! I think he knows too much.
You an alien?
But okay, dope. Yeah, so I feel like that was like I really wanted to ask you that because I love asking stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I have another question. Do you believe the New World Order? And if so, do you believe that it's a good or bad thing?
If you're talking about Hulk Hogan and Sting in WCW,
No, I'm
then
not.
yes.
Okay. Well, I mean. So okay, we'll get away from the conspiracy theorist stuff. That's just something I had to throw.
I like how I told my story for like 12 minutes, and then everything else I'm just like, yes, probably.
So like, what do you have to say to the people that want to be in your field of entertainment or in music? What do you got to say to the next generation? Like, what should they do to get to where you're at or even further?
I feel like anybody can do it. Like, the scariest part, I think, is just getting up there. Like, everybody has the capacity to go up there and tell a couple funny stories. Like, they just got to be willing to go up there. I think there's one story that I always think back on that I hate, but I like it too. But there was one night when I was at Sound Pony talking to a guy, and he was like, he just kept telling me about how funny his friend was. He was like, bro, my friend was so funny. If he ever did stand up, you'd fucking kill it. Every time we hang out, he's just like cracking us up, bro, like blah, blah, blah. And he literally talked about his friends for like 5 minutes and how funny he was, but he was like, but he'd never have the balls to do it. And he walked away from me, and I was like, shit. I was like, at least no matter what anyone could ever say about my stand-up, they could never say that I didn't have the balls to do it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
At least
so
there's that.
So do you believe that you are going to be incredibly successful in life?
No,
Really?
the opposite. I didn't believe in like hope. I thought I was just going to die alone in an office, like face down at a keyboard.
Interesting. I feel that way sometimes as well. I mean, do you currently feel that way, or do you feel like you will be extremely successful?
No, I already feel like I am. I feel like success.
Yeah, you
Success is like just how you feel about where you're at, because I mean, life, the way you can look at life is like, it's like a giant ladder that goes forever, and you're always going to be at some rung of the ladder. Like someone will always be more successful than you, or there's always going to be a place higher that you can aspire to going to, but at some point you just got to be happy with where you're at. I mean, you can always do more, but I was actually happy years ago, like, so.
Definitely. So I mean, success is more defined by what the heart, what your heart tells you. It's not about money or where you live or like status. It's more of like your heart. If your heart is happy, I feel like that is more of success. Would you agree?
I've done more than I ever thought that I could or gave myself credit for. I mean, once I got in my 30s and I wasn't a person that anyone knew for anything, I just thought that I was never going to do anything more than that. So I talked to so many people that are suicidal at like 25, and I'm like, dude, you're like so far away from like where my life turned around. But it's like, I just can't believe how early people give up when it happens so late for me. And I kind of understand why they feel that way, because at a certain point I was the same way. I was like, well, if it's been like this long, this is all it's ever going to be. And then the day that your life turns around, it's never really the day that you expect it to be. It's just kind of a random day. It's going to be like a Tuesday in March where everything just like really it was a chain of events from what I talked about, like just meeting that girl at Sound Pony that time and ending up at the Looney Bin and just being able to start saying yes to doing things instead of finding ways to get out of doing things.
Yeah.
And then just being at the right place at the right time. And so much else happened after that first Looney Bin show that got me to where I am now. And I'm just glad that I kept agreeing to be places.
Definitely. Okay, dope. So, now this is probably one of my favorite interviews so far.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's so great, and I've had lots of practice. I'm glad I've had so much practice. I still say and a lot, but
I do too.
yeah, I mean, but this is probably one of the best interviews, and I love it. People are gonna love it because people love you, and you're a great person. You're a great storyteller.
Thanks,
Like
man.
you need to start your own series. I swear, you need to start your own series. I heard you might start your own series. But yeah, I love this. So I feel like this was pretty much everything. This covers almost everything. I mean, is there some things? I mean, we're gonna get to the portion of shoutouts and all that. But first, if there's anything else that you want to tell the people. Oh wait, I got one more question before that. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, that is a really good question. It's a really hard question. I don't know if I'll still be in Tulsa or not. Like, I don't know. I feel like every time I've ever thought about leaving Tulsa, there's always been something that pulled me back into it. You know, whether it was a relationship or a job or whatever it was that was like bubbling up and things were starting to get interesting. So I'm never going to say that I'm going to move because it hasn't happened yet. So I'm just going to assume that things are going to keep moving in Tulsa and there's going to be an important reason for why I need to be here.
Yeah, do you think that there's going to be, that made me think of something. Do you think there's going to be like a total resurgence in like hip hop culture within this town? Like, do you think that, or just generally, do you think the spotlight will continue to shine on Tulsa? And do you think that people from Tulsa will be able to be extremely successful?
I believe so, because I started listening to Tulsa hip hop in the late '90s. You know, when it was like we had Play 1000 and we had 918 and we had all these groups. In the early 2000s we had Lethal and you know, Dangerous Rob, and there was so many amazing Tulsa artists before the current ones, and we're just getting more and more opportunities. And you know, so I think 5 years from now the hip hop scene's going to be even crazier better than it is now.
Heck yeah! All right, well, cool. Do you have we're getting to the portion now where it's about to be closing time, but do you have any shout outs that you would like to speak on? Anybody that you want to say hi to?
Shout out everybody. Shout out.
There's a lot of people.
Shout out Rabbit Hole. Shout out Juliana. Shout out everybody. You know, literally everybody. Shout out the people that say hi to me wherever I go. Like, shout out to you. I always appreciate that. I love when people come up to me. You know, I hate when people are like, I don't hate it, but when people are like, oh, I wasn't sure if I should come over here or not or whatever, and I'm like, no, please, like literally, like come up and hug me or say what's up or something, you know, wink at me or something.
It's good for the soul. It's good for the soul.
Yeah, I love it. I love people.
Heck yeah.
And shout out to people.
Well, I have a feeling this is just going to be one of many with you because
I hope so.
You've done the best job. Like, I've done the best on this one I have on any other interview. It's because you're so easy to talk to. You tell great stories, and you got hours worth of stories to tell. You need to start, I don't know if you have a YouTube channel, but you definitely got to start a YouTube channel. But now we're at the section of the interview where we call it freestyle session. You can either freestyle rap, spit a written, or you can rant for 2 minutes about anything that you want to talk about, or if you just want to talk, or anything. You know, I know you. All right.
I'm gonna try this rap. Okay.
All right, it's starting now.
I'm really bad at rapping. I got 2 minutes here. Hold on, I can do this. Let me look around. All right, so rap. All right, I just gotta think back to what I heard from Slim Thug. Okay, so. All right, so I'm in the house. I'm not a mouse. I be chillin'. I'm not a villain. I'm on the tape. I hope you can relate. I be out here. I like to see a deer when I'm in the woods. If you mess with me, I wish you would. Did that sound like a threat? I don't know. I didn't mean it like that. But I like to wear a hat. I don't have a gat. Sometimes it be like that. My name's Evan. I hope I go to heaven. Real quick about heaven. You know, hell is supposed to be really hot, right? It's something I've been thinking about. And like, is hell, you think hell is like or if hell is like super hot, you think heaven's like freezing? If so, I was gonna chill in purgatory. Alright, it's been my time, I hope.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, give it. Yeah. Shout out to Evan. Wait, where can we find you at real quick?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, not TikTok at this time. I'm on the internet. And in real life. You can find me in real life.
Heck yeah.
I'm at the bar.
At least until artificial intelligence takes over. But anyways, hey, shout out to you.
Donate to savages like trying to play the master of their own game that they handcrafted. It's like trying to be the one to be a rapper. You can't rip the slasher. I'm Jason from the lake to rappers. Artist pain, I can't mask it. Be the next step to the plate. Wreck your place, get blown with ashes. Propane, I flow flame. Local drip is spitting from the OK. Hot, but every witness some cold game. So sick, take a whole sniff like nostrils dipped in cocaine.